I'm John Prasinos, Editorial Director of Investing Daily. Welcome to my weekly Weed Report for Tuesday, February 15. This recurring video presentation examines the latest developments of interest to investors in the cannabis and psychedelics industries. One of the surest ways to generate investment profits is to pinpoint megatrends in certain industries that will unfold regardless of temporary headwinds. An industry that stands out for its multi-year momentum is marijuana and its ancillary industry of psychedelics. Demand for once vilified cannabis is sufficiently entrenched to withstand rising inflation, higher interest rates, the coronavirus pandemic, and other risks that threaten many other sectors. Indeed, marijuana has evolved from cultural flashpoint to essential service. Let's take a look at what's going on in the wide world of weed. A new study found that banking activity increases in states that legalize marijuana, emphasizing the need for legislation that would expedite the access of marijuana companies to financial services. Researchers studied banking trends in states that have legalized marijuana, examining bank regulatory filings with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, from 2011 to 2016. They unearthed evidence that banking activity, deposits and subsequent loans, increased considerably in legalizing states relative to non-legalizing states. The study, called THC in the FDIC, Implications of Cannabis Legalization for the Banking System, states, while uncertainty can result in overly cautious behavior and hinder economic activity, we do not find evidence of this with cannabis laws and the banking industry. The bipartisan Secure and Fair Enforcement Safe Banking Act, which prevents reprisals against banks for doing business with pot companies, has passed the House and awaits action in the Senate. We turn now to the Tennessee Valley. The Tennessee Valley Authority, TVA, a federally owned regional electrical utility, walked back its previous threats to terminate services to areas where companies are cultivating or selling marijuana, regardless of respective state law. Earlier this month, the TVA first asserted that it is bound by federal obligations while marijuana remains banned under the Controlled Substances Act. The statement came days after Mississippi enacted legislation to legalize medical marijuana in the state. TVA is a main supplier of electricity to Mississippi. TVA's service area covers all of Tennessee and portions of Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia. Its threat to withdraw service to these states, that would have been a big deal. But last week, after a salvo of condemnations from federal and state lawmakers, the TVA backtracked, as the following tweet shows. The TVA's quick reversal due to political pressure shows the increasing popularity and financial importance of marijuana, even in socially conservative southern states. The fact that Mississippi legalized marijuana this year portends further inroads for the cannabis sector in the old Confederacy. Colorado smashed yet another marijuana sales record in 2021, with state officials reporting over $2.22 billion in cannabis purchases last year. The latest figures, released last week by the Colorado Department of Revenue, also showed that the state took in more than $423 million in tax revenue from medical and recreational marijuana sales in 2021. That's a lot of money. The previous sales record was set in 2020, when Colorado racked up about $2.19 billion in marijuana purchases. See the following chart. Since Colorado's retail market started in 2014, marijuana sales have cumulatively surpassed $12 billion. As of January, cumulative tax revenue from those sales has surpassed $2 billion. Missouri. Nearly 1 out of every 10 jobs that were created in Missouri in 2021 stemmed from the state's medical marijuana industry, according to an analysis of state labor data recently released by a trade group. The cannabis sector added nearly 7,000 new jobs in Missouri, representing 10% of the 77,600 jobs that the Missouri Department of Labor tracked for 2021 overall. The Missouri Medical Cannabis Trade Association reported. Legal marijuana in America is a jobs-generating machine in both the recreational and medical sectors, further proof that the industry and its publicly traded companies have staying power. Since 2017, the U.S. marijuana industry has averaged annual jobs growth of 27.5% every year. No other industry even comes close to this rate of job creation. Now let's shift to the world of entertainment. People who attend the 2022 South by Southwest SXSW Festival in Austin, Texas, will get the opportunity to hear from a variety of experts, political advocates, investors, and executives in the marijuana and psychedelics industries. Several drug policy panels have been selected for the event, which runs from March 11 to 20. Here's one example of a panel that caught my eye. It's called Have a Nice Trip, The Rise of Psychedelic Tourism. A description of the panel explains, in this session, you'll learn what actually happens at a psychedelic retreat, where and how they operate amidst a complex, evolving web of state and national regulations, the daily work of psychedelic retreat facilitators, and the trends converging to drive this burgeoning new category of luxury travel. Cannabis investments confer market-beating potential, and they're a must for your portfolio. But the key is finding the right pot stocks. You need to conduct due diligence. We've done the homework for you. Our team has unearthed a trailblazing marijuana biotech that's on the verge of becoming the Pfizer of pot. The time to act is now, before this little-known company becomes a household name and its stock price goes ballistic. Click the URL at the bottom of the article that accompanies this video on the Investing Daily website. This concludes another edition of the Weekly Weed Report. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.